When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle.
Stop touching things and do your job.
Sorry, I know we have an employee for that. Hey, hello everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish.
The podcast that is here face to face reminding you, F me, we all have pain.
What?
Dreamgirls?
Oh, I'm not that kind of gay.
Oh, girl.
I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
And we're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today, hello again, Yakima. Yakima Pride. Just a quick reminder, JT already said it, but I'm going to say it again. This is being recorded. We love applause and laughter, but if you're talking about anything else, like say your social security number into the mic, it's going to end up on the podcast. We are a very not safe for work show. Hopefully you're cool with that. We also talk about gay stuff like dicks and butts. So
Dreamgirls? No? Nothing? That's fine. I have no strong opinion.
It happens. It happens.
Jennifer Hudson's Academy Award winning never mind. It's fine.
Today, coincidentally, is International Talk Like a Pirate Day. So yar, everybody.
So glad you mentioned that before you mentioned Bisexual Awareness Week.
You know, it's a well-known fact that all pirates are bi. So it went without saying. You don't think so?
I think the bisexuals said so. They're a mischievous bunch. They were up to something when that overlapped. Is anyone here bisexual? Do we have any bis in the crowd? They're so invisible. I'm so sorry, bis. you are all personally responsible for bi erasure. You just did it.
Big thanks to Hop Capital Brewing for putting up with us yet again and for having awesome support of the queer community here in Yakima County, and for making good beer. Are you drinking their beer this time, Kyle?
Yes. Did you believe me? I mean, if it wasn't for the taste and smell of beer, I would totally be drinking it.
I know.
What are you drinking, Mike?
This is the Zero to Hero, but the one that has the fruit in it because I'm gay.
Aww.
It's like
that is so. Sorry.
What?
You were saying something about
it's fine.
Gross beer? I had one of theirs. I had a sour by them earlier that I really liked.
So we were here for Yakima Pride yesterday. Yeah. They had the big parade and the festival. How many of y'all were there yesterday? Excellent.
How many of you actively planned it?
Yeah. Quite a few members of the Yakima Pride board and volunteers are here, which is lovely to see you all. When we do live shows, we don't reveal our topic until later. It's to build tension, I guess. We do a lot of shit randomly for no fucking reason.
We did it once, and you know.
Yeah. Just like
that's why the U.S. has capitalism. We did it once, and we just kept on doing it.
But we will reveal our topic here in a little bit. Our show, if you've not heard it before, is about gay stereotypes. We try to talk about the fact that there's no wrong way to be gay. If you don't like
unless you're Milo Yiannopoulos.
He
specifically one wrong way to be gay. But
if you're not Milo Yiannopoulos, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So we try to dispel one stereotype a week, but we also talk about our Gayest and Straightest each week at the end of the episode, which is just meant to show that like there's a little of column A and a little column B for everybody all the time. At the end of the show, we'll be asking people to share their Gayest and Straightest on the microphone here, so be thinking about what that might be for you. And for being a good sport and participating, we'll get you some gayish merch.
Yeah.
So, is there more?
We will be having Joshua Hastings, who is the VP of Yakima Pride, on in later in the show. So he'll be sharing more about himself, about Pride, all that good stuff. Let's do the news.
Great. And there's music for that, and it disappeared. So
you can sing it live. Because you sang it.
I know, but
you're playing a recording of you singing, which is interesting.
I know that's weird.
Because you have a mic in front of you right now, but that's fine.
Oh, here it is. I found it. See, all they had to do was type.
Shut your mouth.
All right. So, news the first. I wanted to talk briefly about the fact that the little tiny town of Goldendale, which is near Zilla, where I grew up, had a Pride Festival this year themselves. So, it was back in July, but there were 300 people that attended Goldendale's first ever Pride event on July 31st of 2021 at the Dirty Cowgirl. There's a place called the Dirty Cowgirl in Goldendale, and apparently that's where they had Pride, which the universe makes sense.
If you looked at a map and you're like, where should we, a bunch of queer people, have Pride, it would definitively be the Dirty Cowgirl.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's what they did. So Sarah Bartell, who's the Goldendale Pride organizer, said,
The
quote,
Dirty Cowgirl herself? Is she
the
speaking?
Dirty Cowgirl. said, quote, I'm positively thrilled with the way the event came together, and I'm immensely proud, not just of my fellow organizers and attendees, but the community of Goldendale at large for celebrating the freedom each and every one of us has to feel confident and comfortable with who we are.
She went on to say, all cowgirls deserve to be as dirty as they want to be. Right. I, lead Dirty Cowgirl, love getting so dirty.
Right. Yeah. Whether reverse cowgirl or...
Name one other cowgirl sex move.
Yeah, normal cowgirl. Like, I wanted to talk on it just briefly, though, because it really, Joshua and I plan on talking about it more later on the show. It's so amazing to me growing up here in Zilla and seeing queer people, I guess full stop, seeing queer people in this place is really just inspiring and awesome and cool. And if fucking Goldendale can have Pride, anywhere can have Pride, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also just want to remind everybody, anywhere's a gay bar if you bring enough friends. So, like, you really feel free to build the community that you need, right?
Yeah. Also, and size doesn't matter. Any size, big or small, you're putting together a Pride. That's so important because so often the only chance you get to see gay people is if someone walks up to you and randomly is like, hello, I'm homosexual, or they're like, hi, I watch RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, otherwise, you may not know. So to be able to have an easy, visible way to see there are any number of LGBT people here, that's amazing.
Yeah. You could also just wear your shirt. I think that lets everybody know pretty effectively.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she's like really got the sensual hair twisty look in her eyes.
Yeah.
That is why this is my favorite shirt.
Okay, great.
No, I want to keep talking about my shirt.
News the second. So Jared Polis, who is the first openly gay person to be elected governor, is the governor of Colorado. Got married. He and his man guy dude got married.
Oh,
last week. It's
first openly gay person to be elected governor of.
Polis, governor of California, became the first openly gay person to be elected governor in U.S. history in 2018.
We haven't had any gay governors.
Apparently not.
That seems.
Now, Kate Brown, governor of Oregon, is not straight, but so I don't know if they mean gay man or if they mean gay or if he was elected before her and my understanding of time is fucked up. I don't know.
The fact that you could pull any other LGBT governor out of your ass is pretty impressive to me.
So he and his partner Marlon Reese got married on Wednesday, the 15th of September, at the University of Colorado in a Jewish ceremony officiated by Rabbi Tirza Firestone. And the wedding was held on the 18th anniversary of their first date, which is adorable. They have 2 children born out of wedlock, so there's this sin, I guess. I don't know.
God hated them until this happened.
Bastards. The word's bastards.
Yeah, well, you know.
Well,
okay, that's a lot.
We're so glad to have our producer, fucking Dan, here this time. Thank you.
So their 7-year-old Cora was the flower girl, and their 10-year-old Caspian Julian, or CJ, was their ring bearer. And, you know, as always, of course, the trolls come out of the woodwork to talk about the, I don't know, whatever they want to talk about, the abomination of the marriage institutions being ruined by these gay people.
The abomination that is the creation of a loving, cohesive family unit.
Right, exactly.
God would hate this.
Yep, exactly. I talked about this yesterday at the festival, but there was that dude walking around handing out pamphlets to people at Yakima Pride about like marriages between one man and one woman, and God only wants one man and one woman to bang, or like
he loves it when straight people fuck to make kids.
Right.
Like he's super into that,
and for no other reason.
He watches
right?
that, but yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in my attempt to be more open and accepting of, especially people of like, I have a lot of kind of negative feelings towards religion, so I'm trying to do better at not bringing that to religious people and more aimed at the institution. So when I got this pamphlet, I'm like, oh, okay, is this good or bad? Are we pro or against? Like, how do we feel? Like, you know, it could be.
You naively and adorably started looking to see if this was going to be good or bad,
and
like,
then one of y'all found the man lies with woman and not.
I mean, really, if
whatever.
you see the word abomination, you can be pretty sure that they're not on our side.
Yeah.
But, I don't understand. I don't understand the capacity to be so upset about other people's choices that definitely don't affect you. Right?
If you are trained that everyone there is going to hell, and the only way is if you hand them a booklet
right.
that you can save them from that. Like, I get if you're trained and like that's ingrained in your brain that you're like, oh, that would be terrible unless I give them, this tiny booklet. Like,
I really wish.
I
really wish after he walked away that I just aggressively hit on him. Like I think that probably
sashay away, girl. strut.
Oh man! All right. Well,
Mike.
Yes.
I can confirm that Governor Kate Brown, who took office in 2015 and is openly bisexual, was the first LGBT person to become an elected governor of a state in the United States.
So
this is why we pay Dan. Like, round of applause for Dan, everybody. Like fact checking.
But that makes sense why they said gay first.
Yeah.
Gay.
Yeah. Okay. News the last.
Yeah.
Great. Lil Nas X, who is amazing, and everything about him is fucking fantastic. So on Friday, just a couple of days ago, the official Teletubbies Twitter account asked Lil Nas X if they could be featured on his next album, and they shared a Montero album cover spoof that's Teletubbies instead of Lil Nas X. It's fantastic.
Is it? I don't know. Do I like this or do I hate this?
Do you see it?
Oh my God, they're all in Lil Nas X poses, like lying on the ground.
It's adorable. But in doing so, this invoked the wrath of far-right commentator and huge cunt, Lauren Witzke. She is a self-described, quote, American Christian nationalist. And but she in this post insisted that she, quote, always knew that the Teletubbies were little gay demons.
That's true, though. That's true.
Yeah.
Do you remember the whole controversy about the pink triangle one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tinky Winky or which the Twinkie something?
Twinkie Winky. Favorite Teletubby? Yeah.
The one with the triangle head is purple, not pink.
Did I say pink? Purple.
There isn't even a pink one, which that surprises the hell out of me. Like I thought for sure there's red, purple, yellow, and green. Anyway, so Lil Nas X tweeted back at them. Where did the tweet go? Hold on, let me find it. Yeah. Lil Nas X tweeted back. All right, bet. Me and Tinky Winky on the hook, Dipsy and Poe on the verses, and we'll let Lala do the outro.
He's deep in the Teletubbiverse.
Yeah.
Like he knew all of them and where to put them.
He's up on the lore. He's collaborating with known gay demons, the Teletubbies.
He has his own fanfic site. Yeah.
That's the news.
Weird ending, I guess. But that's the news. Do you want to reveal our topic and start talking about it?
Sure. Let's reveal our topic and start talking about it.
Are you yes-anding quite
Okay,
literally?
normally for live shows we do topics that it's funny to hear the audience say back, and then we'll have a sign. So like we did sluts.
It was very funny to have everyone say hand jobs, and every time like we held up the sign, we had everyone in the audience shout hand jobs, which I don't know if you've had like 50 people yell hand jobs at you. It was my second time. But yeah. This one's less, less salacious.
Less salacious. But so we'll reveal the topic on 3, 2, 1. Hometowns.
So yeah, we thought this was fitting given Mike's from the area. Part of us attending Pride and planning Pride is the ability to be involved and be close to your hometown and be LGBT. So we thought that was a connected topic that we want to talk about.
It's interesting too, because like especially later, I'm gonna say a bunch of stuff about Yakima County, and it is all out of love, right? Like growing up here, I have this huge soft spot in my heart for this place that I grew up, and it also, just like that one sister who's evil, like you just want her to be better. Mm-hmm. Like I just want it to be better here.
Yeah. I grew up in the suburbs of Houston, where there's such a mixture of. I love Texas. I think it's filled with amazing, great, friendly people. Like Seattle people are like kind of nice to your face, and then like you don't ever, like they just don't want anything to do with you. Like in Texas, you can like meet someone at a store and they will actively want to be your friend and invite you to a barbecue. Like there are such amazing people, but like there's so much that you want it to just do so much better. So there's quite a conflicted relationship that a lot of us often have with our hometown.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Should I start by telling you some data?
Yeah, tell me some data. So if you're not familiar with the show, Kyle often brings the studies. He talks about the math and the science and the studies. And so after I bore you with the news, he bores you with the data.
I got some numbers and statistics and percentages. So this is a study about LGBT people in rural areas.
Yeah.
And
which you were sort of asking before the show, like, is Yakima a rural area? And my answer is, at least growing up here, I mean, Zilla is for sure rural, but like, I think even Yakima sort of thinks of itself as a rural town, despite the fact that it's 100,000 fucking people. Like, it's not a tiny rural town, but still has that like. Culturally, that's true, and I'm seeing nods in the audience. So, yeah.
And even if you weren't,
right,
those listening at home will never know, because that's how podcasts work.
Yeah. Also, there's a jacked dude stripping over there in the corner.
I know,
and there's a full-on lesbian orgy happening here. So, like,
dirty cowgirl indeed. And that's part of the way this study, and actually, I didn't realize this. The census defines rural. It doesn't just take a city and say, is it, size, is it rural or urban?
It's always about size.
Always about size, apparently. Jesus Christ. They break down even like deeper than the county level. They break down areas of counties and decide, are these rural or urban areas.
Sure.
And that way they can come up with, even if the total number of a city seems really high, it could be collectively made up of mostly rural areas. Or they gave examples in the study of two counties that had the exact same number, but one was mostly rural, one was mostly urban. So I like that they actually looked at it at that level to come up with actual like vibe and feeling that you're describing.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the Where We Call Home, LGBT People in Rural America study from April 2019 by the Movement Advancement Project, which sounds like what Michelle Obama did at the White House, get kids moving. No, but it's about LGBT people in rural areas.
Okay.
And it's interesting. Dan and I both came across this study, so it was super relevant. It was a lot of pages, but I read a lot of it. Okay, so here's some numbers.
Okay.
Get your butts ready.
Yep, my butt is ready.
I'm so glad. Keep me updated.
People are walking in the door as I talk about my butt being ready. So
are we in the right place? Yes. Okay. Not LGBT, just overall, 1 in 5 Americans live in rural areas. That was based on the 2010 census.
Okay.
3 to 5% of rural populations are LGBT.
Okay.
Is that higher, lower?
I don't know. We talk about so many of these studies where they don't agree. Like, right? We've read as high as like 10% of the population is queer, LGBT umbrella of some kind, and as low as like only 1% or 2%. And if like officially in Russia there are 0 gay people or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
3 to 5%, great. That sounds okay. Fine.
Yeah, and
Although then in Yakima, 100,000 people. That means there's like 3,000 to 5,000 gay people, like just here, and it certainly doesn't look like it.
Not on Sniffies,
right? Although this is a grinder town. Yeah. Okay.
also see some nuts from there. Thank you. That's helpful context. And you mentioned part of the anywhere from 3 to 10% is based on what kind of surveying you do. People may not admit it. So if you do like self-identifying information, you'll get lower numbers than if you estimate and extrapolate based on things So
whether the person answering the survey is on ecstasy at that moment,
whether you did the survey at a bear bar,
right.
In rural areas, 10% of rural youth identify as LGBT.
Yeah.
Which that to me is more trustworthy because young people are more able to be out and be themselves. So that to me is like a more trustworthy self-identifying number. And that is basically the same estimate we get when we look at urban areas. So the same percentage of LGBT youth exist in rural and urban areas.
That's fucking interesting.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
Also, I think youth, not only because they're more likely to accurately or be able to admit or correctly self-identify, but they also have less control of their circumstances. So I think that the fact that they're equal to me speaks to the just gay people are everywhere, and you will have the same percentage, no matter what, because just the same percentage just exists naturally in the world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. 15 to 20% of the U.S. LGBT population lives in rural areas.
Okay.
So if you look at all LGBT people in the U.S.
But that is under, you said 1 in 5. Everybody lives in a rural area.
Are you going to make me add these up and math them
that's
out?
That's 20%. Less than that is 15. So queer people are underrepresented in rural areas is how I interpret that.
No.
Let's do math, everybody. It's real fun.
That's not... No, that's not true.
Oh.
It's about the 1 in 5. Where 1 in 5 Americans live in rural areas. 1 in 5 LGBT people live in rural areas.
I thought you said 15%.
15 to 20.
Oh, okay, then great. Continue. Never mind me, Kyle. Just go for it.
Do you want to check my? I have the sources if you want to check my work. So that gives us anywhere from 2.9 to 3.8 million LGBT people that live in rural areas.
Sure. Yeah.
So
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Absolutely. So there's a lot more. What I thought was particularly interesting about this study then goes into kind of the challenges they face, the positive things they run into. I think one thing I wanted to mention that stood out to me is we generally just kind of make the flat assumption that rural areas are not supportive of LGBT rights. And it's while they are less supportive, let's see, it is not like as extreme as it is in my mind. For example, 62% of rural people in rural areas support LGBT non-discrimination policies.
Yeah.
And in urban areas, that's 72%.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's not 0 versus 100. It's
right.
It's closer in acceptance than people think. So to simply write all of rural people off as not accepting of LGBT people is very misleading.
Yeah, there's this phenomenon of the dominant culture, and then everybody gets locked in somehow. And I'm going to try to do the nonpartisan version of this, but like in Seattle, that's a dirty liberal commie, like a Democrat haven. But also, Joe Biden only got like 80% of the vote. Like, go to the grocery store and 1 out of every 5 people that you see voted for Trump, or at least not Biden. It's the same here, right? Like, there's this assumption that this is red Trump country, but at the same time, Biden got like 25% of the vote in Yakima County. Like 1 out of 4 people at Walmart probably voted for Joe Biden, but it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate because there's always strength in numbers, and the numbers are probably higher than you think they are. It just, the dominant culture sort of precludes the visibility there somehow.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. So just to wrap up, I will read this one paragraph that was kind of nestled in the study that I thought was kind of beautiful, actually, and spoke to why we talk about things we talk about, that there's no right or wrong way to be gay unless you're Milo Yiannopoulos. They said, general societal stereotypes and pop culture portrayals of LGBT people suggest that LGBT people live solely in urban settings, while stereotypes and portrayals of rural communities rarely, if ever, include LGBT people, except as targets of anti-LGBT violence or as people yearning to leave their rural home to migrate to more accepting urban areas.
Yeah. My biography is that we just
Dash Mike Johnson. These assumptions and narratives create a singular understanding of how to be and where to be LGBT in the United States. This understanding of LGBT people as incompatible with rural communities doesn't reflect the true diversity of the LGBT population across lines of race, class, gender, and geography. Too often, the lives of LGBT people in rural communities are cast in a single light of oppression and stigma, rather than recognizing the complexity and, for many, the beauty of life in rural areas.
Yeah.
Who knew a study would just like write something so profound like that?
And affirming.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about the cultural differences, and one thing I miss about home, one thing I miss about here is people just talk about their lives. Like, you run into somebody at the grocery store, they're genuinely interested, and you probably know the same people, and that doesn't happen in the city. It just
and you have to listen.
You're expected to listen and then respond and share your own stuff. But I do miss that. There's a genuine sense of being connected to each other that is largely absent from the anonymous hustle and bustle of a big ass city.
Yeah.
And I genuinely miss that. Which, it's funny, then I get a lot of that out of the gay community in Seattle, because it's small, and like, you see the same people and you get to know them in a way that people here just naturally do with everybody. It's really interesting.
That sounds like so much work. Are y'all just tired all the time from like running into people? Is that just so much work every day? You say stuff.
Okay,
that was all. That was all for me.
Sure. Okay, I'm real nervous about this section, everybody. I wrote a joke for every city in Yakima County, and I promise listeners will get some enjoyment out of this as well. First of all, I wanted to give away. I meant to make certificates, and is there anybody here from Toppenish? Lived in Toppenish? Went to Toppenish High School? Is there? All right. Well. Great.
Any tops?
Yeah. So the Big Dick Energy Award of Yakima County goes to Top Penis H itself, Toppenish. I remember when I was a kid, and the internet was new, you couldn't search for Toppenish High School because they had the word penis in it, and it was hilarious. Anyway, Top Penis H gets my Big Dick Energy Award. And my serious bottom energy award goes to Union Gap. Okay, and then moving on. So this is actually not my joke, or my joke class, or whatever you want to call it, category. There's an old comedy duo called Williams and Ree, and they did what I'm about to do, but with car brands. But
you just said so much.
I know.
I don't care about. Okay,
but like, what if car brands stood for something, that they were all acronyms for things? And that's what I've done with most of these things. So the city of Sela, for instance, I imagine that they envision a utopia created by cunnilingus and analingus. It's Sela, SELEH. Suppose everyone licks a hole. Okay.
If you were at home, you could be licking a hole by now.
Natchez, I think theirs is an Analese commercial. It's Natchez, Naches. Now anal can't hurt. Enjoy sodomy. Moving on, Granger. My mama's hometown at Granger. Yep. Granger. They are advocating for a hard throat fucking goal. Yeah. So Granger, get railed and never get entered rectally.
That could be like the tagline of a glory hole somewhere. It's beautiful.
Wapato, that's WAPATO, wet ass pussy and tacos only.
Come visit us at the Dirty Girl Scout.
Zilla, my hometown, class of 96, Zilla High School, right here. It's just a list of people who live there. Zealots, incels, lushes, lesbians, and honkies. Like, let's see. Mabton, Mabton. Many are bisexuals temporarily. On NyQuil. Let's see. What else have I missed here? I've got this. Sunnyside. Sunnyside, they like to celebrate average dick energy in Sunnyside.
Okay.
Sunnyside stands for something unsafe not needed. Your size is definitely enough.
That's so affirming.
Yeah. Tietons celebrates some kind of plastic surgery incident that happened. Tieton, Tieton. 2 implants, enormous titties, 1 nipple.
Hopefully not the same one.
Grandview, you might think I forgot about Grandview. And last but not least is Yakima. Yakima, you already know it's meth addicts. That's my series of jokes about Yakima County.
I mean, when people walk in my ass is in the air, that's my grand view.
Yeah, I was working on a thing about like Donatella Versace is everyone's whore, but I couldn't figure out the first part. And then I was doing the like Austin Powers thing or Mike Myers thing of like Grandview. It's neither grand nor is there a view. Like, I don't know if you've been through there, but it's like what?
If I did, I clearly forgot. And maybe that's part of it.
It's just creative marketing. They were lying about the town to try to get people to move there or something.
I'm
anyway,
sorry, are you saying that from the Palm Springs, Washington?
Yakima County, I love you.
Thanks, Mike. Wow.
Yeah. And you were worried it wasn't going to be funny. I think it was.
We'll have a meeting about it later.
Right, great.
Well, I'm going to tell you about my hometown.
Katy, Texas.
Katy, Texas. Because you're going to talk more about your hometown when we have Joshua up on the stage. I don't know whether you go by Josh or Joshua, but Joshua is so much gayer that I'm going to stick with that. Joshua. Anyway, I grew up in Katy, Texas, suburb of Houston, and the one thing specifically I wanted to talk about is going to high school in Cinco Ranch High School.
Cinco Ranch?
Cinco Ranch. That's
like
Five Ranch High School.
The 5th ranch?
Yes, they're...
Because Quattro Ranch burnt down or something?
I don't know. There isn't an Uno Ranch High School anywhere. I don't know. There's probably some reason.
I want to go to the Second Presbyterian Church, damn it.
Nope. Okay, Cinco Presbyterian. So when I think back to high school, and specifically like gay memories. Wow, that's not what I meant, but like I have a lot of gay memories. But like the gay kind of news or thing that happened in my high school was that a yearbook was recalled because of its gay content.
Wow.
So
what kind of yearbook was this?
So I actually found an article that I remembered some of it, but there was an article that came out on Houston Chronicles online version, chron.com, on June 5th, 2002, that like when this happened wrote about it. So that helped refresh me on kind of what the controversy is or was in my city. And we had maybe at the time, my class was maybe 800 or 900 people. So we probably had 200.
It's half my whole town growing up.
Yeah. Anywhere from like 2,000 to 2,500 people that went to my high school.
Wow.
To give you an idea of the size. So yeah, the yearbook theme this was my sophomore year, was first experiences.
Okay.
And it's not that gay though. It didn't. Yeah. So they printed the yearbook and had to recall them.
Okay.
They said because of technical issues like the color quality and pictures weren't right and all this stuff.
Why do they gotta fucking lie?
I don't remember if I thought there was anything. I wasn't that kind of gay, so I don't care about like the pic. I couldn't tell like, oh, this picture quality was taken in 400p instead of whatever the fuck. I don't know those kind of things. So like, I don't remember if there really was like color issues or whatever. That was one thing. Other complaints about the yearbook included there was a listing of the high school, our high school's demographics by race that some people complained about, which I think we were the precursor to the critical race theory debate. Like, we don't need the breakdown of race. That's offensive. I'm sure white people, that's offensive to see how, like, they're all white people here. Like, you know, who was offended by the racial breakdown being put out there to people. Right. People were offended by that, clearly.
Like, if you want to know, you should have to go through and count.
you should yeah, exactly. There were stories that people wrote about how to lie, how to hold a seance, how to use a Ouija board, all of which there were complaints about. And there was...
Because Jesus?
I don't... this is the question. Like, do people actually care that there's a story about a Ouija board in there and how to use it? Like, yeah, definitely, like, religion and Christianity doesn't support the raising of spirits to talk to via Ouija board. I guess that's chips away at God slowly. Like, every time you bring a spirit back or something. I don't know what the... Yeah. So...
God is all-powerful, but he's really afraid of Ouija boards.
Except for fucking Ouija boards. So the guy that was the yearbook editor was also the one that wrote this story about his experience coming out. His name is Robbie McMillan. He was super hot. He dated a girl that he dated a girl. They broke up. I dated that girl.
So you basically dated him by the commutative property of dating.
Like, in my mind, obviously I didn't say this because I was so closeted, but in my mind I was like, oh, that'd be interesting if you introduced us to each other. We became friends or whatever, you know. It's just like all that a three-way. No, I like never like acted like we weren't friends. I didn't know him. I just knew him as the gay kid, as I'm sure a lot of people, because there weren't like, I think he was the only one that was out, or at least that I knew of.
Oh wow.
I stalked him and looked him up. Still hot.
Wait, he was gay, dated this girl, they broke up, then you dated this girl.
I think he was not gay when they dated. I don't remember the...
What I'm trying to do is put myself into the headspace of this poor girl. Like, she turns everyone gay. Like, what is her life
Lucky
like?
For her, she didn't find out I was gay until like 3 years later, so she had probably moved on.
Great, sure.
I think she had kids early, so I think she had other things to worry about that were not mine. Highly unlikely. Can touching someone's boobs get them pregnant? I'm never clear on straight sex.
I mean, no.
You can't be sure of that.
Not a thing.
You can't be. The jacuzzi can get people pregnant.
Despite what Texas public schools probably told you, no, it cannot.
So, hot Robbie McMillan.
Yes.
Said.
Call me. Call Kyle.
I don't know if he's.
We're both single now, so like.
No, if he calls you, I'm gay murdering you. Like, I'm hate criming you so hard. I'm going to be pissed. Okay. He said to this interviewer, We went around school in English classes and told people we needed stories about their first experiences with things. So it's not like mine was the only story in there. We got about 12 or so stories from other people, and we didn't turn a single one down. We had one story about an anorexic girl. We had one about a guy's first crush on a girl, and that was a lot more sexual than the one I wrote, and that didn't get any complaints.
Okay.
So after they got all of these varied complaints, who knows how legit they are, it was kind of cool to see, like back in 2002, I didn't realize this side of things. They took away every single complaint that was not that gay story. They changed. They didn't ask questions. It's just, you have a complaint about that? We'll take it down. We'll remove it. We'll change it. We'll adjust it so that they could get it down to, is it about this story or not? And the principal, Lowell Strike, I remember he was like very...
Sounds like a fighter pilot.
He
Lieutenant Commander Lowell Strike.
It could have been. He was like jovial, like he was like everyone liked him. He was very friendly and outgoing. He was very well liked from what I remember. He in the yearbook said ordered it removed. That sounds official.
Ooh.
But yeah, like he, in spite of them changing everything else, they did say you have to remove this story.
Okay.
And so Robbie said, I always thank my lucky stars that I went to Cinco before this happened. The administration was really friendly, and I didn't deal with harassment very often. And if I did, I knew they'd support me. So it's interesting that this was such a different experience when you put it in writing and then get families and everything involved in the feedback. And I haven't thought about this too much about like the fact that I was not out in high school. The out kid had to have his story removed because it was about being gay and people didn't want to read that. I think I downplay what the effect was, and I didn't come out until college. I don't know. I just, who knows to what degree that actually affected me.
Yeah. I mean, are there other examples? Like, was Katy, Texas, and Cinco Rancho High School a gay wasteland? Like, or
that sounds hot. What? That's my John Mayer song. Your body is a gay wasteland. What?
I'm wondering, like, did you have any other like representation in your life? Like,
no.
It's hard to miss what isn't there, I guess.
Yeah,
is what
not that I don't. This is the biggest gay thing I remember in the high school, other than my sexual desires for Cameron in cross country.
Yeah. It's interesting because at my lunch table in high school, of the like 10 of us, 4 of us ended up gay. I don't know how we found each other, but we did, right? And one of my very, very best friends was a couple of years younger than me, and he was either valedictorian or salutatorian at Zilla High School. And all of a sudden, because he was starting to come out to people his senior year, I was in Cheney, going to college at the time, but all of a sudden the administration was very interested in the speech that he was going to give. They're like, we need to be able to review all of the speeches, but especially yours, Jeremy. And they took a red pen to his speech because it was too gay. Right? Like,
What did he say?
Just talking about like how growing up gay in Zilla sucks, and like being gay at this school sucks, and like
Cameron in cross country can get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But at least at that time, and it sounds to a certain extent, this situation with you, also your hometown, also there's this like oppressive censorship that's happening, right? Like, and it's really unfortunate. That's why Yakima Pride is so important, is the visibility of it all. Because like you get a critical mass, and you can't hide that. You can't sweep that under the rug. You can't make it go away.
Yeah.
Right.
The study that if you remember the numbers that everyone loves so much, that study talked about the ripple effect as both a challenge and a big opportunity in smaller communities. Of if one person comes out and gets fired because of it, that affects so much of their life and people's view of them. If one church accepts LGBT people, that makes such a difference to everyone. So I think, that can have such one thing, one person, one event can really have a big effect on the rest of the people in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember I played The Sims growing up, and my brother and his friends told me that Robbie played The Sims, so that was a gay thing to do.
Sure.
So then I was like, oh shit, I can't play, like, if I play The Sims, I'm going to be gay, or people will know I'm gay.
Yeah.
So I created a Robbie Sim and a Kyle Sim and had them
fuck a whole bunch. Great. Okay. I mean, I also wonder about like how many straight kids stopped playing The Sims despite loving it because they didn't want to seem gay. Like the tragedy of that, right? At least one person here.
At least one person here has never played The Sims again. Yeah, absolutely.
It's so funny how like sexual orientation gets attached to things that have nothing to do with it whatsoever.
And then you're right. Like, obviously, we should be focusing on the LGBT people that it directly impacts, but then says so much to everyone else about what's the right way to behave as a person. And you know, so much comes back to gender binaries. Like, if you're a dude and you're playing The Sims, you're not allowed to. Shouldn't you be playing football? They said to me in my high school hometown. No, because I hate it. I played football and my neck hurt from wearing the helmet, and I like had to go to the coach and was like, my neck hurts. And I wonder if that's the moment he was like, this guy's not any good at this. He's tall, but that's all he has going for him. Anything else that you got?
Yeah. So we wanted to have Joshua Hastings on to talk about our common stories of what it's like to grow up here, and our stories diverge in that he came back to the Valley and started Yakima Pride happening. So everybody, please welcome to the show, Joshua Hastings. I wasn't sure if like more hands would help or hurt at this stage.
No, don't. Usually more hands are good, but talking about orgies. We'll edit in post.
Okay.
Hi.
Well, hello there.
Thanks for being on.
So Joshua Hastings, everybody, is the vice president of Yakima Pride.
Correct.
And so we're a similar age, right? Like there's I was class of '96.
Right. We're 25.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're rippling too,
Yes.
by the way, everybody. And you went to Wapato High School.
I'm actually class of 94.
Okay.
I went to Wapato High School, yes.
Great. So only 2 years apart. We're the same zone. Was it indeed only wet ass pussy and tacos in Wapato?
Maybe throw a couple guns in there.
Okay, sure. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, if you don't mind.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was born in Yakima.
Okay.
But I was pretty much raised out in the lower valleys, so Wapato area. Went to Wapato High School.
How big was that?
Oh gosh, at the time it felt really big. I don't know, like in the lower valley, you always think of these small towns as you put the word in there small, that they're small, but they're not really. Everybody, like you said, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what school you go to, they all kind of intermingle. And if you're not familiar with minors in Yakima, that's like the mingling ground for high school kids, and especially sports.
Mm.
Yeah. And the Union Gap Denny's also, we spent a lot of time there.
Oh, yeah.
We always hung out in the parking lot of the McDonald's.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Just like a thing you do when you're in high school?
Wapato Dairy Queen. That
Yeah.
was like the place to go for lunch during high school.
Yeah. Did you ever cruise the Ave?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a thing here.
What's that mean? What's that mean?
Yakima Avenue is like the main drag that goes from the freeway to downtown, and you would pile as many people as you could into your car and drive up and down and yell at other cars of teenagers.
It means take your parents' stereo equipment and somehow attach it to your car and then try to drive up and down the Ave.
Yeah. For sure. Were you out in high school?
No, I was not.
Was anyone out in your high school?
I would say that there are some people that I thought were, but I can't really remember anyone that was openly out.
Were you right about them?
Yes.
Yes, right?
And then some surprised me.
Yeah.
I probably have some stories. So,
and it's okay if you don't want to tell them, but if you do want to tell them,
I give their full names and tell us about them. That's fine.
So after high school, you left the Valley and went abroad to Seattle, right?
I did. So, leaving high school. Yeah, I went abroad.
The exchange rate in Seattle is shitty.
To Seattle. That's like leaving Yakima is leaving the country, I suppose. But but yeah, when I was 19 years old, I moved to Seattle to be myself. But you just can't. You can't find your community here, and I think that it's always been a struggle.
Yeah.
Was that specifically why you left? What level of being gay?
Yeah, I found, you meet your first boyfriend, and you're trying to figure out whether or not this is what you want. And if this, you're still feeling it out. So you can't really do that here. So I think that was probably the best situation for me, is to go someplace where I was accepted and explore that.
Yeah. So, when did you come back? When did you move back to Yakima?
Wow. So I lived in Seattle for about 6 years. I moved to Phoenix, Arizona for about 14 years.
Okay.
And in 2017, I felt like I wasn't making the best memories with my family or for myself. And I made a hard decision on moving back to Yakima. Brought along my fiance, Kaimo Penaku.
Hey.
And then we had a hard realization that we might have made a mistake. We're looking around like, is this accepting? Is this the place we want to be? And we thought, you know what? We can either decide to help make a change or find another place to be.
Yeah.
And so we decided to start looking around what other LGBTQ organizations were happening. And we found that there was a celebration that was happening each year. It's quite small. It was, not a foundation. It wasn't a nonprofit yet. And Kaimo and I got involved with what would be Yakima Pride.
Yeah. And
the rest is kind of history at that point, where we are now. But there is a big story behind that too.
Okay. So, behind Grindr, what's the second gayest thing to do in Yakima? Is there a place that we go? That I know that there aren't any gay bars here, and there have been sometimes
kind of gay bars that have popped up. They're like pop-up gay bars. They're gay for about 6 months and then they shift. But there is a Game and Grog here that is they do have rainbow flags outside their
that's great.
Their venue. There's a drinking games that's very affirming. I don't know if it's not necessarily labeled a gay bar, but it's very mixed crowd.
Yeah.
But I'm not really aware of a lot of the other ones because I haven't lived here, so I couldn't really speak for that.
Yeah. Do you think Yakima could support a gay bar if somebody
I think
took
Yakima
the chance and did
could
it?
be a Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Like a legit one if it wanted to be.
Yeah.
We have all the breweries, all the wineries, great weather, a lot of activities to do. We could legit be the new Palm Springs of what, where the gay Mecca is.
You said, thank you. You said the nude Palm Springs?
Yes, the nude Palm Springs.
I would love that. I would be here far more often.
So how has it been? So Yakima Pride, I know that YakimaPride.org, as an organization, is only a couple of years old. Is that true? When did it formally start to exist?
So in May of 2019, 4 of us got together and decided to make a huge commitment to the organization, and we turned it into a nonprofit.
Okay, great.
And at that point, you realize what you're doing, but you don't really realize the amount of focus that the community has on you.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, they're serious.
Yeah.
Okay, so those that are against you are very much trying to research you and find out more about you and how to approach this. And those that are with you are like, wow, how can we get on board? What can we do?
Yeah.
And you start figuring out the community kind of oddly.
Have there been any like overtly negative responses?
I was going to ask about that because I wanted to hear dramatic things.
Well, you mean like people calling our phone number randomly and telling us that they hate gay people and hanging up?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Telling us, you should go back to Seattle because gay people just kind of, got off a boat or a bus from Seattle and, just took over Yakima.
They
and
bus
I hate
them
to
in.
inform them, but we've always been here. We've been here since the beginning.
We kind of did that, didn't we?
A little bit.
It was a Jeep.
We did come in from Seattle, but we didn't start gay.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah.
There's like a hive there in Seattle.
Well, I do worry about the drain of that, right? Like, I think, our stories are really similar in that, like, you grow up gay here, you end up going to Seattle or like Atlanta. You look at Atlanta, it drains all the queer from like states around, and everybody comes to Atlanta or New Orleans. But like, is that happening here? Like, if Seattle like fell into the ocean, how long would it take for Yakima to be a gay Mecca? Because there
Probably
wasn't
overnight.
Because there wasn't this other place to go. Right?
Yeah. I think with Yakima Pride and something that we experience year after year, and even this year, the amount of messaging that we get from the community and telling us how much they enjoyed something, or this was their first Pride, or how it affected them or their parents, really gives us that, that self-worth of like, this is really worth it. We're putting ourselves out there and helping make that change for our community. And if it doesn't happen, what about all of the youth? We were those youth that didn't have a place to be ourselves, and we shouldn't have to move away to, be ourselves. Yeah. That we should move away for college or, normal things to take that amazing job, but not to move away to be yourself and then leave your family behind. What if you do have an accepting family, but you don't want to be here because you can't be yourself? So if we can make that change together, I think that this would be a wonderful place to grow up and be yourself.
Yeah.
What are your favorite parts about Yakima? Other than the gay thing, like what keeps you, or why are you here? What keeps you here? What do you like about being here?
My family is here. That's a huge piece, and I think that speaks for a lot of people is family. You build a lot of memories. We went to school here, so we really connect with the valley, the agriculture. We're founded on that too. It's you miss it. You don't realize you miss it until you come back and you're like, wow, this is what an apple really tastes like. I forgot what that tastes like.
Every time I'm here in August and I smell fresh cut hay, there's this instant, this is home. Mm-hmm. Like, it's super powerful. Like you're onto something. Absolutely.
Or the hops.
Oh, hops.
When the hops are out. Yeah. Or
the mint harvest in Sunnyside is huge. Like, it's great. Yeah.
We got all country gay for a moment.
Right. Yeah.
I would watch that movie.
country gay.
I think I've seen that movie on like Broke Straight Boys or something. That might be a different thing. So what are the big super shitty to have people like call in or vocalize their like hate? Are there any kind of structural roadblocks when you're planning a Pride? People like in position.
Sorry.
Gay gas.
So the original date for Yakima Pride got pushed back because of the smoke, but there was a permitting thing that happened with the city. Like,
well, to kind of give you just a little backstory, so Pride was planned in June.
Yeah.
But due to COVID regulations, we had to postpone it to August, which would be August 21st.
Yeah.
And then like everything seems to happen in Yakima. It doesn't matter what it is. Stuff is always happening. We're kind of the Jerry Springer of small town, like small cities. But our wildfires are just crazy out of this world. And if you live here, like you can't breathe because of COVID and you can't breathe because of the smoke. So, we're not going to put our festival attendees nor our staff and ourselves through that mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we made the right decision to postpone it, and we moved it out to September 18th.
Yeah, but before the smoke happened, before there was a postponement, wasn't there some kind of issue when like your permit got lost, quote unquote lost, like the city?
Afterwards, technically. So we had submitted another permit to the city, and I think the city was kind of struggling with departments that weren't talking to each other. And so they're like, we don't have no record of your permit. And I'm like, okay, but the Parks and Rec people know that it's happening, but you don't know it's happening. So where's the permit? So I know they were going through, some staff changes and stuff like that, but they kind of overplanned some other things over the top of it. So the Natchez Ave Parkway is actually going through a revitalization right now. And, I would say that we have the best Parks and Rec team, and some of them are LGBTQ identifying.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
That we're just like, we're going to make this happen. We'll move our revitalization to the other side of Natchez. We'll let you have your festival, and then we'll take over Natchez Parkway and fix that. So, that was amazing. I to kind of speak further into it, I think it's always scary because you never know who is affirming or who is supportive, or if they're actually saying no, just a general no, instead of saying no because there's actually something behind it.
I mean, I was wondering, like, if something gets lost, that's a norm. Like any part of dealing with any government institution, like that kind of makes like, okay, that kind of makes sense actually that you lose shit. Yeah, like that is that hard to like balance, or can you get a feel of if it's genuine or if it's someone being anti-LGBT? Or do you just have to guess and wonder?
I think we do an educated, get our board together and say, well, does this feel like this? Do you think it's intentional? And come up with a good response of how we want to attack it. Or we'll just like, I got this, and someone will take it on.
So we're less than 24 hours since Yakima Pride happened, so not going to hold you to anything. And what about next year? Are you thinking about next year already? Is it too early to tell?
Well, we're actually late. we're late in the planning already. With all the postponements, typically, Pride happens in June. So at that point, once it's over, then you have a whole nother year to kind of whip things together. Well, we postponed it so far that if Pride is happening in June 2020 or 2022, we have about 8 months until Pride again. So we got to get back to work.
Yeah.
Oh, the next day, maybe you get like a week or something. Like, are you allowed like a week to just like chill? I'm seeing no's from planners. No week break.
Yeah. Self-care, good self-care. That's important.
Oh, and that's why we're here. Yeah. Hop Capital, they got the best medicine.
I'm wondering, it's a little bit putting you on the spot, and do you have any words of advice for small town, hometown gays who are trying to find their way? Do you have any words of wisdom?
Oh, I'm probably sure I'm full of them.
I'm full of something.
Well, yeah.
Happy Pride.
It's always a struggle, that with youth, sometimes they don't have parents that support them.
Yeah.
So when you have that problem and they reach out to us and they tell us their stories and they're asking us for help, that's a difficult situation because you're up against parents. So, and giving them resources that are publicly available is about as far as we can go. But then there are some parents that want to be helpful, they just don't know how. And that's where kind of the magic happens, that we can help them be, a better parent for their child and make sure that they're fully aware of all these resources that are out there. But as far as advice for the youth, don't stop being yourself and don't conform to what the society wants you to be. Be yourself and don't move away. Come join the rest of us that are trying to make this change. Help us make the new Palm Springs or the nude Palm Springs.
Yes.
And I think that's so important because there's so much love that is here in Yakima Valley that they just don't know how to give it. And right now we're starting to see a lot of that. Even our previous Pride Festival, which was a small festival in a park, and that's how I'm going to label it because that's kind of how it was. This year it felt like Pride. Like this felt like a Pride.
Yeah.
And you hear that from the volunteers and all the attendees and the messaging that is overwhelmingly coming into Yakima Pride that we even haven't had a chance to read all of it yet. So, and look for the photos. There are so many photos that are out there right now. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Mike and I, if it wasn't clear, attended yesterday and watched, blocking off streets so that the group could march together. And you mentioned that it ended up kind of the group coalesced into a big group that, we had different signs and everything, but it felt like a very sweet, cohesive, unified, diverse LGBT group
marching in the rain.
I've
not actually seen that, but everyone was just diligently doing it and having a great time. And then I was on the float and helping kind of radio and direct some of the pieces that are in there, but watching the momentum of that crowd coming into the festival on Natchez Parkway, it was just a grand sight. And our performers there and drag kings and queens on the float, some of them are from out of town, and they're like, this is so much more special than some of the bigger prides, because it felt like there was this connection they had, and even to the youth in our valley, that just made them want to cry sometimes. And I don't know if you were there in attendance when this small boy came to the stage.
Yeah.
To talk.
Oh my God!
I was going to be in tears
so
when he was up there
great.
talking, and I don't remember everything that he said, but the way
he was talking about which color from the
Yes,
Pride rainbow was
yes.
his favorite. I was like, oh my God, you are so fucking adorable. It's
And
amazing.
Also, it takes a drag queen to know how to. This is a complex scenario where you're on a stage and a small child walks to you. Like, drag queens know how to handle that shit. She gave him the mic, let him do his thing.
That was
People
Sophia
cheered.
Sinclair that did that.
She was
bless,
so great.
Bless her, because she was just, she handled that with just, guiding light, like at that moment, and allowed him to talk, but not knowing what he could possibly say. It was very just on the spot. So it was beautiful.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, well, congratulations on Pride, on having it done. I hope you can take at least some time to enjoy it before you get back to planning, but it was incredible. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So did we do it? Is that
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we did it.
I think we covered it.
Okay. So, in case you're not aware, Patreon is a platform where people can give money to content creators just out of the goodness of their heart. That's awesome. And every episode, our Patreon supporters get an extra segment. So we take a break and then we record our Patreon stuff for our supporters. So we're going to do that, but that's why we take a break, and fucking Dan's going to come down and do the Patreon stuff. So, should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, what more could there be?
I know. Yeah. I'm sweaty after that.
Yeah.
So are we back?
We're back.
We're back.
We're back into our main episode.
Yeah.
Don't sign up for Patreon this week. Sign up next week, maybe, because it got very uncomfortable.
Hey.
Hi.
This is what the people want.
It's true.
Is that true? Okay. We're going to do our Gayest and Straightest.
We're going to do our Gayest and Straightest, but first, our website is gayishpodcast.com.
We are on social media: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, OnlyFans, Snapchat, Verbo, at Gayish Podcast.
Some of those. Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails. It's 5855-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rate supply.
Our email is nope. Emails don't start with that. Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
And our physical mailing address is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington, 98109. A couple of programming notes. So our 250th episode is coming up soon. Every 50 episodes or so, we do a Q&A show. So be thinking about your Qs so we can A them. That's
Happy Talk Like a Bisexual Pirate Day.
Yeah, yep. Yar.
So we'll do our Gayest and Straightest first, and then we'll call on the audience to come up and do theirs.
Absolutely.
Do you want to go?
Sure. So my straightest thing about me this week, I was looking at the Instagram account. It's lit gay shit. And they had this meme on there, and it was just several iterations of this bird flying towards this dude's face and him recoiling in horror at a bird flying towards his face. But then the bird was labeled monogamy, and the dude was labeled gays. Right, like monogamy and gays. One of them was hot coffee and gays, and then one of them was Ed Sheeran and gays. I'm like, I like Ed Sheeran. Does that mean I'm straight? Apparently liking Ed Sheeran means that I'm straight, at least according to this Instagram account. You see?
No gay is like, sweet, the new Ed Sheeran, you know?
I am.
Oh.
I heart him.
Okay.
Okay, well, I mean, all right. The straightest thing about me this week is liking Ed Sheeran and then getting called out on that for that on Instagram. The gayest thing about me this week is these shoes. Thank you. My sparkle heels. I wore them last weekend in LA for a sparkle themed 46th birthday party. It was amazing and fun, and that's legit the gayest thing I've done in a long time is hang out in LA with WeHo gays. And I want to say to my LA host, you are beautiful inside and out, and don't let anybody tell you differently, especially you.
Mostly inside.
Yeah. Right.
My straightest is, last night I just had the night farts.
Great.
Mike, thank you for getting us all separate rooms.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Critical decision there.
Night farting is straight.
Any kind of fart is a straight thing because like straight dudes love that shit. Like gays don't fart, they don't like burp, they don't, like they're too, I don't know, douched for that. My gayest is I hooked up with this dude this past week. He was like very into like the dom sub thing, and he told me that I was so cute I could be I could whore myself around the neighborhood and be everyone's cum slut. And I was like, oh my God. You really think so? That's so sweet.
What a compliment.
That is a compliment. I'm pretty sure is my gayest thing.
Oh, are you a cum dumpster?
I would love to be.
Good work.
Hit me up. Who wants to share the gayest or straightest thing they did recently?
I'll start.
Oh,
I never get to
you
do
don't
it, but
get
it's a live
you don't
show,
get
so
merch, Dan.
I'm not going to get merch, but if you come up and tell us your gayest and straightest, we got some merch to hand out. My straightest, both of my things are things that I packed for this trip.
Oh, okay.
My straightest was I packed my kayak,
Oh.
thinking that I would like make time to like hit one of the lakes in town and that the weather would be real nice.
You have like fold up kayaks for emergencies.
I have a weird origami kayak.
Oh, sportsing. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
My gayest was that I also packed my portable shower shot so that I could douche the whole time I was here. And when we got to the hotel and I checked in and I looked at the shower, they have those like giant rain head shower things. I'm like, this hotel is homophobic. But I got it to work. So I didn't use my kayak, but I used the shower shot. So,
So you're ready is what you're saying?
maybe.
RTG. Okay.
But I also might have a cold, so sorry, boys.
Amy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one. Yeah. Go ahead and grab it out of there
Hello?
too. Yeah.
You can-
All right. So my gayest for like hours on end of striping rainbows with tape of the bar and the van, the Brewery van. Looks amazing.
Girl, you have been a nyan cat all over Yakima. It's amazing.
Yeah, your rainbow skinned van was in the Pride Parade yesterday.
It was. It presents very well.
Yeah.
And then my straightest is I had this Pride shirt on, and then the Oregon game was yesterday, and I really needed to get my Oregon shirt on to watch the football game.
Yeah. Yep. And they won, right?
They won. #Go Ducks.
Great.
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
Thanks, Amy.
Mike, do you need some merch up on the table for you?
Oh, well, yeah.
Or how do you want me to handle that? You got it?
I got it.
Okay.
Come on up.
Hello. My name is Ambrose. I think can you hear me now?
Yes.
So about 2 weeks ago, I want to say, probably the gayest thing I've done was I painted my nails. And it was a good time. I'm on vacation. I'm just gonna, for the kicks of it, why not do that? And then I came back recently. I want to say earlier this week. I went to 2 hop farms, and I'm shaking a lot of hands and saying hello to a lot of people. And subconsciously, I'm thinking, oh man, I still have nail polish on my fingers. A second thought I was having is, I'm so sorry that I didn't repaint them because they're horribly chipped right now. So that's that.
Thank you. I pretend like my chipped nails are like punk, it's like, yeah, I'm wild.
I'm Carly. Yesterday, we all went out to lunch.
Yeah.
Patty, we all know Patty.
Ma Johnson.
Ma Johnson,
yes,
like mom.
Michael's mother. She ordered a French dip. She got a salad. She did not want a salad. I offered to toss her salad. And so that was my gayest moment.
Perfect.
Immediately after, my husband got a steak salad, so then I had to chop his steak for him. So it was the gayest and the straightest moment I've had, all in 2 minutes yesterday at lunch. So
Taking it from either end. Thank you.
thank you.
Who else has a gayest and straightest they want to share? Thank you all for coming up. Thank you to Yakima Pride for putting on an amazing Pride yesterday, and to the 8 months ahead of you to plan the next one. And thank you to Hop Capital Brewing for having us yet again.
Yeah. Thanks to Joshua Hastings for being on. We really appreciate your time and talking to us. Thank you to the wait staff here. Please be sure to tip well. They're working hard to make sure that you get all of the booze in your face that you need so you can put up with our shit. And also to Heroes Pizza out there for feeding you all.
Thank you to the Dirty Girl Scout.
Yeah, right?
You deserve you deserve all the dirty and all the love.
I think it's Dirty Cowgirl, but like somehow
shit, that's
you just wanted to sell cookies, I think.
There was a shot that we used to get in Austin when it was your birthday that was called the Dirty Girl Scout, and it tasted like a mint chocolate chip cookie. It was so good. That's a different thing. Thank you to for those that support us on Patreon at our highest level. We call them our super gap bridgers. Thank you to those Forrest Nail, Patrick Martin, Anonymous, Explosive Lasagna, Christopher Farrell, Jamie Pugh, Kevin Henderson, Tipsy McStumbles, Thomas B, Dusty Sands, Chris Cacciatorian, Jerome York, and Cian and Javi.
Yeah, that is it. This has been Gayish from the Chris Cacciatorian Studios. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. There's also... There we go. I found it.
While Dan's I didn't read everything. There was like so much information in this report. Can I just tell you a few things?
Yeah.
Other things?
Yes,
okay.
of course.
Okay.
I mean, it's your show too, so.
Okay.
Whatever.
It sometimes feels that way, so thank you for saying that. One of the things that had nothing to do with rural life or anything, but this study referred to something else that said that LGBT people are more likely to be homeless. This was in this report because homelessness is an issue in rural communities.
Yeah.
LGBT people are more likely to be affected by homelessness. But the thing that stood out to me, the thing that was interesting, is that it said most LGBT youth became homeless not in the immediate aftermath of coming out. It's not that they came out and then got kicked out then.
That's the narrative.
That's what I think of in my head as what happens and why LGBT youth are homeless. No, so it said that it's in large part because of the frayed relationships over time and general family instability.
Oh, wow.
So that definitely changed my perception of how LGBT homelessness works.
That blows me away.
Right?
Like, I've repeated over and over again the narrative that like
you come out.
I mean, a ridiculously high percentage is like 75% and I always feel like I'm exaggerating, but then it ends up being true. 75% of people experiencing homelessness who are under 18 are gay.
Yeah,
LGBT.
absolutely. Yeah.
And
So
the narrative there is that because their family said "fuck you" and kicked them out, and that's not
obviously that's
at least not
for
immediately.
someone that's going to be the case, but yeah, that's largely not the case.
So interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
random things you learn by reading.